Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of PHT TV, and welcome back to another PerListen unboxing. This is going to be our last PerListen unboxing for now, because we've covered the S7t towers, we've covered the S7t center channel, and we've covered the S4s surrounds. And now it's time for the monster of all subwoofers. If you haven't seen the previous videos yet, make sure you go back and take a look at the other PerListen videos from last week and the week before. These units are designed to be used together, so a lot of the materials and specs carry over. That said, in addition to checking those out, make sure you hit that subscribe button below and hit the bell next to it to enable notifications. Not only will this let you know as soon as new videos release, but it'll also be the first step to put you in the running for many of our giveaways and contests that we have here on PHT TV. First off, I want to recommend getting some help when moving this sub around. While I am unboxing by myself, I did end up getting help moving it up to the studio and up the stairs. It's called the D215s Sub, and that 2 and the 15 isn't just a title. It actually has dual 15-inch woofers, each with gigantic magnets, as well as an insane amp to push them, all placed inside a thick HDF box. So it is really not super light. So anyways, let's get this guy out of the box and we'll see what we're working with. First off, we're gonna cut these straps. And after those straps are apart, we can actually pick it straight up. Now, as you can see, we have actually got a piece of plywood to protect the top part of the cabinet. Next, we have our scan code for our manual, as well as a pair of white gloves for the unboxing process. Then we have our standard IEC power cable, very thick styrofoam topper, and in that topper, we actually have furniture movers. The top of the box is actually the bottom of the subwoofer, so I'm going to do a little bit of a slight reveal here. And as you can see, we have the feet here. So what we're going to do is we're going to push forward and flip over. But before we do that, I did want to actually give you guys a close-up on this as well. So I'm going to grab the other camera here. So this is actually the bottom of the sub. You can kind of see the basket of the driver. I'm not going to take this guy apart or anything, but you can kind of see the basket of the driver. You can see the massive magnets. So to give you an idea of how this looks inside, we have the magnet that goes down to about here, the basket to about here, and then this is where the woofer ends here, and then you have the other front-facing woofer. So just wanted to give you another quick close-up on the front. We'll give you some more close-ups on the sides and everything once we get these unboxed. All right, so how I'm gonna unbox this is I'm gonna scoot it forward and flip it back to the back. This is actually the front of the unit, so I'm gonna do it this way. So that when we reveal, the front is actually facing you. Now, as I mentioned before, it does include these furniture movers on it. Since I have such a plush rug, what I'm gonna end up using is these plastic bottoms so that they slide around easier. But you use whichever is best for your particular scenario. Here is the inside of the bottom of the box. Not a whole lot going on inside there. They actually have feet that go on the bottom of the box in order to protect the package that much more. So super thick foam, some feet that have some give to them so that if anything hits the bottom of the box, it's protected. Now we're unboxed, we're ready for the reveal. So here we go. I'm gonna put on my white gloves before going any further, just so I don't get fingerprints all over it. The D215s Sub does come in a matte black finish, so it does a great job to match the face of the rest of the system. Just a beautiful design all around. The grille on the front and the side allow you to see inside of the unit and look inside to the internal components, which is where the other 15-inch driver is placed. As you can see looking through the front and through the side grille, the internal 15-inch woofer is actually pushing upwards. It's facing upwards towards the top of the cabinet in a push-pull kind of setup. But what is the push-pull setup? That is the big question. So I'm gonna cut back to the Zoom meeting with the PerListen team to tell you a little bit more about the push-pull setup.
If you have two subs sharing that sealed box playing the same way, so let's call it push-push, you can achieve pretty damn good level of distortion output and transient response. Inverting the one sub, what I found with these great drivers was 10 to 12 dB reduction in distortion on the asymmetric distortion. So all those harmonics went down another 10 to 12 dB just by inverting it. So basically what's happening is you're getting a cancellation. So when one's going slightly nonlinear one way, the other one's going the opposite, those two asymmetries cancel out and you get lowered distortion. The benefit of that is now you can take those drivers out even further than the X-Max implies, and they still have extremely good control and extremely good low distortion. And then all the benefits of the sealed with the impact, the transient response. So that's the main benefit of the push-pull. It's taking a great sealed box and making it just that much better.
In addition to the push-pull design making this sub unique, there's also an intelligent amplifier. And while that immediately brings to mind app control and all that, I mean that in a completely different way. It does have an app control, but that's beside the point. When I say smart amplifier, what I'm referring to is that there is an onboard computer. It looks at AC line voltage, it looks at power supply, heat buildup, and so on. So in short, if there are any changes, the subwoofer will actively adapt.
We look at the power supply rails. We look at the heat on the FETs, the output devices of the amplifier. We monitor the voltage and the current on the output. Okay, and then so when we have all these pieces of information coming in, then we have profiles that we've programmed in the sub. So it's an intelligent sub. So it knows what the driver is, it knows what the amplifier is, and now it has these I guess little monitors that it's watching. So if anything changes, which is going to happen, for example, the sub's going to get hot or the FETs are going to get hot, the amplifier will actively adapt. For example, if somebody's rocking out for 4 hours straight with the subwoofer at full output and the FETs start getting to the thermal limits, we actually take the limiter thresholds and inch them down until that thermal comes back into equilibrium, and then we let the sub come back up, and then it can do full output. Rather than shutting down, packing its bags, and going home for an hour, it'll keep playing, and it'll allow itself to cool down while it's still playing. Things like that. Yeah, and like Eric was getting to was, you know, if you have AC line that varies, which some places are terrible, and they can swing day to day, even hour to hour, the sub will adapt to that real time.
All right, and as far as the back panel goes, first up top we have a USB port for service updates. Next we have a 12-volt trigger so that your sub will kick on when your amp kicks on. Below that we have 2 unbalanced ins and 2 unbalanced outs. And below that we have 2 balanced ins and 2 balanced outs. So you have several options on coming in and out of this unit. That about wraps me for today, guys. It also wraps our PerListen unboxings. Let us know if you have any questions. Also, if you want to pull the trigger on a set of these behemoths, you know who to call. Next week, we're going to start diving into some amps. I've got a bunch of Parasound gear that I'm dying to start talking about for you guys, so smash that subscribe button below to stay up to date on our new releases, and we'll see you again next week for another episode of PHT TV.